We're talking hockey. Raldi and Rupper talking hockey. Stars over the Preds.
I don't know about that one, Gumps.
That's a bold call, my friend. I don't know if it's going to happen. Hello and welcome to That's Hockey Talk. I am your host, at Nick Moraldo. That beautiful voice you just heard was our pal of the pals, our northern friend, at Bubba Gumpino. Gumps, how you doing, brother?
All is well, my friend. All is well.
And, of course, joining us, our very own Stanley Cup champion, scored a Game 7 Stanley Cup clinching goal. One of the best in the biz on TV, the NHL Network analyst himself, Rupper, Mike Rupp. How you doing, buddy?
Good, boys. Glad to be back. Crazy another week in the game, and got a good guest tonight.
We do. Hey, these guests you've been lining up, nothing to sneeze at. We're getting real guys, real players here.
Hey, it's I think we're getting to that point now where it's like guys are understanding. We all know this. Like hockey's kind of behind the eight ball on a lot of this stuff, right? And it's about now just going out there and just have fun, man. Just especially when you're done playing, and when we get the guys that are done playing, they seem to open up a little bit more with stories. But even the guys that are playing, this is kind of the name of the game now, right? Get out there and you only live this once, right?
Hey, you said it. Hey, let's not waste another second because it looks like our guest tonight is here. He is none other than former captain of the New York Rangers. He was with the Tampa Bay Lightning for a little bit. He said, hey, also, let's not forget a silver medalist for Team USA at the Olympics. That's a big fucking deal. Sorry, Gump, you win Canada. We get it. But we love our American hockey around here. We love USA-born players. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Callahan. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Callie, thanks for coming, buddy. First of all, I want to talk to you about just get right into it. ESPN, man, congrats on that. How's that been going for you so far?
It's been awesome. I mean, I think like everybody else in the league, but when they just announced that they were getting the NHL back, everybody's excited. I mean, just hearing the theme music put a smile on my face. It brings back so many memories when I was a kid watching the game, and then obviously doing some NHL Network stuff, NBC last year. When I got the call that ESPN was interested, it was awesome. I mean, it's such a great company. They're doing such a great show. It's fun to be on. And as you do, Rupper, it's fun to talk hockey, right? So it's
you don't even. Hey, buddy, you know this. We worked together a few times at Network. You don't even have to be fucking right. It's actually sometimes better to be wrong, and it gets people talking. But anyways, what have you done up to this point? I saw your first game that you called, which is a really, I don't know, it's just another wrinkle in it. A cool story. You're Rochester. For the people that don't know, born and raised Rochester, New York. You call your first game that was in Buffalo, right? Sabres? You grew up a Sabres fan?
Yeah, it was. So I've done some studio work, obviously, with them. And then my first game was in Buffalo. I did color with Buchagras, who's awesome. He's been around forever, obviously. And
he's so good.
He's so good. And it's funny, my first NHL game was in Buffalo as well. So kind of came full circle. And my first game in colors, it was in Buffalo. So it was good. I mean, it's awesome. And Rupper, have you called any? Have you done any color?
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it a few different times. We got those. What are they called? They're not premier games. I don't remember the name of it, but it's the network on Saturdays. We've done those. And there's sometimes some random ones. I've done some in the past where they're like, they bring you out to Connecticut. You call the KHL playoff games. They send you a packet, and you're reading this stuff, and you get like a series that you got to cover, and you're trying to do your, get the homework done with that. But it's a tough business to crack with as far as calling games. There's only so many jobs out there, and everyone's like, well, you want experience, and it's hard to get experience. So when you get the opportunity, you jump at it. So man, you've been
that's cool. I mean, I think being at the arena, I loved, right? So you could feel the energy of the crowd, the game. It's just a different beast, I think, than being in studio. It's just more energy. I had a lot of fun doing it. But there's definitely a talent to it, and something that I think you need a lot of reps at till you master it for sure.
Did you know Bucci prior, or is this new meeting him? And Dude, I love his new his chicken parm thing he's doing. That's unbelievable what he's doing on social and on the show too. He's bringing it out there. I saw him with Torts the other day. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it's actually the first time I've met Bucci. Obviously, heard of him and stuff before, but first time face to face, and he's dived head first into this chicken parm thing. There's no question. We even had through social media, we were in Buffalo, and he reached out to a bunch of Buffalo fans, threw it out there on Twitter or whatever it was, and he had a restaurant lined up. We walked in there; they had chicken parm waiting for us. It was the whole thing. So I mean, this is no joke. He's serious about it.
Nick, I don't mean that. While Kelly's talking, I'm looking down, dude. Is that a Danbury Trasher shirt you're wearing?
Absolutely, brother. Got to represent.
Where'd you get it?
My girlfriend got it for me on Amazon somewhere, I think.
Oh, nice, buddy. I like it. Anyways,
just for you, pal. Just for you.
Callie, you would have been perfect there. You see the documentary on Netflix yet?
I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen it. I think I've heard enough stories and it's heard enough people talk about it where I could probably recite the whole thing front to back, but I haven't actually sat down and seen it.
You would have been perfect on that team, and I'll tell you why. Because the people that are watching here, Callie was the guy. Callie, give me your actual height and weight when you broke in the NHL. The actual height and weight, not the program. The actual. Height.
I was 5'10" and a half. Of course, you got to add the half. And that was pretty big.
Always.
And when I first broke in, I was probably about 180, right around there.
All right. So they, that's the one thing I know. And we played against each other. I was in New Jersey when you broke in the league. I've never seen a player that hit as hard with. I don't want to say this because you're jacked for your size, but like for a guy to hit with that kind of impact and go at big guys every shift, that's why you'd be great in Denver. You'd just be stirring up fights left and right. But is that when you came in the league, were you just like, I got to get noticed somehow, and that kind of bought you a little bit more ice time, and you just had to play much bigger than your actual size was? Yeah,
to be honest, I kind of learned it when I was in juniors that I found when I was playing more physical, throwing my body around, I was, in juniors, like everybody else. I mean, I put a lot of goals in, a lot of points up, but I found like I was scoring more, getting more opportunities when I was throwing my body around. So then, when I got to the NHL, naturally, I mean, it's different than it is now. You play third, fourth line minutes. You get your 5 minutes a game when you get called up. And as you said, I just wanted to somehow make an impact on the game, right? So, and back then too, you chip that puck in and you just go full bore at that defenseman. The poor D-man just turning for those pucks, right? So, I mean, I would throw everything I had at him. I mean, I was not an intent to injure, but I definitely wanted them to feel it when I hit them, and I wanted to make sure that everybody in the building knew that as well. And it was just a way, like you said, to try to stay in the league, right? And then eventually you get a little bit more ice time, and then you get opportunities to get in a position to put up points. And luckily I did that as well.
Hey, Callie, on top of that, like when you came in, you obviously played for Torts for a number of years there in New York, and you eventually became captain, and that spoke to the way you played and your leadership abilities and everything. Was he there? Was he the coach when you broke in? And was that something like now you're working with him side by side? Is that like, how awesome is that to be able to continue that relationship?
Yeah, it's great. So when I first broke in, Tom Rennie was the head coach there.
Okay, yeah.
So he was the head coach for my first year. I was getting called up and down. I played playoffs. Second year, he ended up getting fired. I believe it was my second year. He ended up getting fired, halfway through the year, and Torts came in. And I didn't know any different at the time, but I remember all the veterans in the room as, they announced that Torts was getting hired. Everybody could see him pucker up real quick and like, oh, you boys, you don't know what's coming here. So, but I didn't know any different. And Torts came in, and luckily he was a type of coach who, gravitated towards that style of play that I had of blocking shots, running guys, working hard. So he played the hell out of me. I mean, right away, he put me on the ice, put me in opportunities, power play, things like that. And I mean, that's when my career kind of took off was under Torts. I mean, I owe so much, of what I did to him. And then we had a lot of good years under Torts, and obviously, he ends up moving on, gets fired. And, but now to be back at ESPN with him, we did a Zoom meeting this summer with ESPN, and I had no idea Torts had a job with ESPN. Right. So there's like 30 people on the call, and all of a sudden I look down and one of the screens is like John Tortorella. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm thinking to myself. So I talked to him once in a great while. So I pick up my phone. I'm like, Torts, what are you doing on the Zoom call? He's like, oh, I'm working. I'm like, I thought we'd be working together at some point, but I definitely think it was going to be behind a camera. So we had a good chuckle, and I've been in studio with him a couple times now, and it's good. It's good to reunite with him. Like I said, I owe a lot to my career to him giving me opportunities and kind of showing me, the right way to play. And Rupper, you can attest to it. Those teams, we played the right way. Like there was no cutting corners in those teams.
No, they called us. Yeah, that was back in 2012. We made it to Eastern Conference Finals. You guys had Stanley Cup final runs after that, or a run after that, and had some really good teams. But we were called that year in 2012. They instead of calling us the blue shirts, we were the black and blue shirts because the guys like you, the way you played, Doobie, we had a tough team. We had all those things. It was kind of just like if Torts could manufacture a team, that was us. We were like Torts in fashion on the ice, right? And it's funny you mentioned about the camera. We've seen Torts, man, giving great sound bites over the years. They've been unbelievable. We all seen them. I actually I reached out to him yesterday, and I said, I go, hey Torts, I'm like, I'm doing this. Callie's going to hop on our podcast, and I'm like, you don't have to hang. You got to preface it with Torts. You don't have to come on long. Just I want to surprise Callie and have you pop in. And just tell us what the conversation was when you told him that he was captain or whatever. And Torts, and the thing I love about Torts, he's I only had him for a year and a half, 2 years. He's one of my favorite coaches I ever had, and for those reasons that you mentioned, he taught you, even me, in old age at that time, how to play the game the right way. And I got nothing but love and respect for Torts. But you kind of know what's coming. I'm like, hey Torts, I know you'll be a straight shooter. Come on. Just hop on, tell a story about Callie. And he goes, Rupper, great to hear from you, exclamation point. To answer your question, capital letters, no. So Torts, right? I'm like, hey, dude, I appreciate the honesty. But so maybe you can share some Torts stories. I want to know, like, how was the conversation? Like when you, again, Rochester kid, growing up, you're a Ranger fan, but I mean, you're talking about Original Six. Years having the captaincy for that team, that there's some ilk in that. How did the conversation go with Torts?
It's funny, the story. It's kind of probably not how anybody think it would go. Like, there wasn't some big meeting and brought me in the room. And so it was during a summer, I was in contract negotiations with the Rangers, and I was headed towards arbitration. And so Torts calls me, and I spoke to him a couple times during the negotiations, but he calls me and says, hey, Callie, will you take X amount of dollars right now as a contract? Right.
Oh, he's being the GM.
Yeah. So literally that's how he opens up. But first, he'd always open it up with it's Callie, John Tortorella here. He's like, Torts, I got caller ID. I know it's you. You don't have to announce yourself. But we always started the conversation like, will you take whatever? Well, I can't remember the numbers were. And I said to him, I go, no, I'm not taking that. He goes, good. I wouldn't take it either, but they wanted me to call and ask you. So we both kind of start laughing. He goes, the real reason I called, he goes, you guys better figure something out because come next year, I'm going to be naming you captain of the team. So it was kind of, right away, like it went from kind of laughing about it to it got pretty serious. And I was emotional, everything. I'm like, it hit me. I'm like, holy cow, like what a responsibility, what an honor. I mean, go through the list of things in the Rupper, as you said, Original Six team, everything, right? So his words of advice were, don't F it up. He said, I'm going to name you captain, don't F it up. I'm like, fair enough, Torts. But it was good. I mean, we ended up reaching a deal shortly after that. And I think it ended up getting announced to the team at training camp and then obviously to the public short after that. But that's one phone call I'll definitely never forget just because it was kind of funny to start. And secondly, it was just a tremendous honor to be able to wear the C there. And, there's nothing like it. One of my highlights of my career for sure.
Hey, that's amazing. That's incredible. And we know like what a character Torts is and how he's portrayed in the media and his battles with the media. But like to you guys, did you have that, like, I'll call it, I guess, freedom or comfort to be able to just like have we know he's a straight shooter, but did he offer that up to you guys? Like, could you just go to him and be like, hey, Torts, like, this isn't working out, or can we try something this way? Or did he give you guys that kind of respect as well? Because like I said, we hear all these, I don't want to call them horror stories, but people paint him as like this hard authoritarian coach. Like, but I feel like whenever you hear players talk about playing for him, that experience, they paint it in a much better light.
Yeah, he couldn't have been more open with you. I mean, he encouraged conflict. He did. I mean, if you didn't agree with him, he wanted you to go at him. And sometimes I think he would push your buttons just to see how you would react. And, I think that's when you became closer with him is, through conflict. He wanted that pushback. He wanted to see that you cared. He wanted you to show that emotion. And you could basically say whatever you wanted to him, really. And I've seen players, go at it toe to toe with him. Marion Gabrick's one of the ones in the locker room in Montreal. Were you there for that, Rupper?
I wasn't. I know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, they were nose to nose yelling at each other, but
but he likes that. Like, he likes that. Like that's those types of guys. They want that. They don't want you to sit there and take it. They want emotion. That Torts is emotional. He wants his players to be emotional, right? So when you push back and you come back with the, you know what, F me, F you, it's like Torts is like, now I got him. Now I got him. We're ready to go.
And one thing I will say about Torts is, like you said, everybody says these stories and stuff. There's a method to his madness. I've never seen a coach being able to evaluate a player so well and be able to realize that he has to treat Rupper different than he treats me to get the best out of you, right? So maybe Rupper's a guy that responds to him screaming and yelling at him, showing video. That's how Rupper gets the next game. He's going to show up. Where me, maybe it's not. Maybe it's, he subtly says something to me or he just leaves me alone, So he definitely can evaluate a player, and you can see how he handles a room and the characters of guys. And having him so long and being his captain, and we kind of had some open dialogue about, everything that's going on. I kind of got a behind the scenes look at that, and it's pretty impressive how he does it.
Yeah, the one thing I want to tag on that, Callie, is you were the perfect captain because you went out and you did something. And if Callie's doing it and if he's working and playing that way, nobody else has an excuse. But I want to share a story. Actually, I want you, if you don't mind telling it, but I will if you don't want to. Callie's leadership showed up in the second round of the playoffs for me personally. You know where I'm going with this? When I was late for the playoff game.
Jesus, go ahead. You can run with it. I mean, it's probably better from your view than mine.
Yeah. You can grab it from your vantage point. So it's I think it was the second round of the playoffs. We're playing the Washington Capitals in 2012, and I'm getting a ride to MSG. I lived in Jersey.
Smart. So you're a terrible driver.
Oh, that is true. Actually, Callie was on the team. I almost hit Rasheed Wallace. But anyways, so I'm driving. I was getting a ride, so I was in the passenger seat, and I'm going to the playoff game. I left way early. I'm going to get to the game early. I like to usually get to the game early, and I had no idea, but I don't remember the exact. It doesn't matter. But it was like the president or the vice president. There's some big political convention or something going on.
That shuts down the whole city.
When that happens. Shuts down the whole city. I didn't know. So I got on the West Side Highway, and I'm like way up. I don't know. Maybe I'm up at somewhere around like 100th or whatever. And what MSG's at like 32nd, 29th, somewhere in that range. Yeah. And so I'm way up there, bumper to bumper. An hour goes by, don't move. And I still left early enough where I had time. So I'm like, okay, we got to start moving here. And I'm trying to like think of different routes. Everything's like blocked. So now it's getting up, at a 7:00 game, we usually have to get there at 5. That's like the latest you can get there. So now it's like 5:15, 5:30. I end up texting JR, our PR guy. I'm like, JR, I'm coming, whatever. And he was good. I don't think he was going to like rat me out or anything like that. Like he was kind of whatever. So it eventually gets to the point, like it's like 6. It's like pushing 6 o'clock.
Yeah. So Rupper. So as this is going on in the room, when you walk into the room, when you play, everybody has their jersey hanged up perfectly in their stall. Everything's lined up perfectly. So everybody, all of a sudden, everybody starts talking in the room. We're like, shit, where's Rupper? Has anybody seen, like none of his, he's usually one of the early guys. So I took it. I'm like, we can't let Torts know that, or any of the coaches know that he's late or he's not here. So I grab his jersey. I hang it up to the side. I take all of his equipment down. I lay it out in front of his stall. I take his sticks on the rack. I throw his sticks in his stall. Like throw a couple rolls of tape in there. So, I mean, if anybody walked by, it's Rupper somewhere on the rink. Like, you know what I mean? So he's been there for a while. Sticks are out, stuff's out. So I'm like, we got to buy him time, because you have to the point of pregame meeting, which whatever time that is. I'm like, so I've bought him to that. If he's not here by then he's on his own after that.
Yeah. So I'm not there. I'm not there for the pregame meeting, but Callie does this. So nothing looks like, if everything was perfect in my stall the way the trainers left it, it would have been very evident someone's not here. Rupper's not here. So he lays all that shit out. Boom, boom, boom. Tape in the stall, sticks. It's all good. I don't know this is going on. Meanwhile, I'm at but this time maybe 70th Street and like the West Side Highway. I'm like, I gotta fucking walk. Run. I get out and I'm running in my suit. Dude, I ran like 35 blocks MSG playoff game. I had a blue dress shirt on, soaked all the way through, just soaked. And I come in, get in the MSG, come up the elevator, come in, I'm changing, and like nobody's saying anything to me. And I'm like, or actually, I ran into Callie. Callie's like, and then I saw what Callie did. I'm like, holy shit, man, you're the best ever. And then I'm like sitting there like, I just dodged a bullet. Callie saved me. I got here minutes before warm-ups. I don't have to deal with the wrath of Torts. And then I started sitting there thinking, if Torts knows that I try to pull a fast one, I'll never play here again. So I'm like, I got to own it. I got to go in there and say something. So I go into Torts' room. I
didn't know you went in there. I didn't know.
I went in there. I appreciated what you did, but I was like, dude, if he finds out later,
I hear you.
Rude. Like now I'm a liar. You know what I mean? Now he can't trust me. So I end up going in his room. He's got his glasses are down on his nose. He's writing on his notepad, like doing whatever. I go, hey, Torts, and he looks up, he's like, what's up, Rupper? And I'm like, hey, I'm just giving you the heads up, like traffic, man. I don't know if it's the president, whoever it was, but I just got here right now. I literally ran 20 blocks. I'm like, I just got my, I can bring you my shirt. It's drenched. I literally ran 25 blocks to get here or whatever. And he just goes, oh yeah? Okay, well, go get ready. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, he didn't even care. Like, nobody noticed I was gone. Like, he didn't give a shit. Like, it was, but my whole point and all that, like, you know what, dude? Like, Callie, that's what Callie was. He had your back. And you know what? Because who would have gotten in trouble? I would have gotten in trouble, but I'm sure Torts wouldn't have been too happy with you either if you found out about that. But that's what you did. You led. And that was why you got the C for the New York Rangers.
No, I appreciate that. It was, like I said, it was awesome being the captain there. We had some great groups, man. We had some fun teams there, and it was good. It was good runs we went on.
Hey, that's leadership. You never heard Pierre McGuire telling stories like that between the benches about that kind of leadership. And that's what we need. I have one question. It's kind of for both of you guys too. When you were in New York, Callie, you're the captain. Rupper, you were, I'm assuming, sort of a fan favorite there as you were in Pittsburgh. Were you guys, it's such a big city. It's a clusterfuck of a city. There's so many people there, but the Rangers do have like a diehard, passionate fan base. Were you guys recognized a lot? Like when you were out and about, did you get to go out and about a lot? Did you get to like enjoy the city and like Manhattan and all that stuff? Or was it kind of like just focus on business and then, every once in a while you get to go have a good time?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's surprising. People ask you this all the time about Manhattan and New York City, and you get recognized when you're out. There's no question, but I think there it's almost like a norm, right? So it when you got recognized, it was almost like I'd be walking in the street or at a bar anywhere, and it's oh, hey Callie, what's going on? Hey, you guys are playing great. It would be like a casual hello. It wasn't like pictures or autographs or anything like that. But and then surprisingly, when I got to Tampa, it was the complete opposite. You'd go everywhere you went, someone recognized you. They wanted a picture, they wanted an autograph, and New York kind of just had this cool vibe about it, right, Rupper? Like,
yeah,
people would recognize you. Maybe you more because you're taller and you stick out more than I do, but it was kind of just like a cool vibe. Like, hey, what's up? You guys are playing great. Like, you know what I mean? It's just in passing. Everybody's in a rush there or something.
Yeah, it's everybody's in a rush, and I don't know. There's other things going on. They're rabid about their sports teams, obviously, but I don't know. It's not like the small town feel.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Pittsburgh, you could be first line to fourth line. Every single time you go somewhere, you're recognized, and people are saying things because it's a smaller town and it's just a little different feel. But it doesn't mean that they're not excited in New York. It almost becomes, like you said, just like, oh, hey, what's up, man? You guys are on a tear right now. Keep going, whatever. That's that New York was cool like that. I bet you for the the Rick Nashes of the world, the superstars, the Hank. I don't know. What do you think? Can Hank go anywhere in New York without?
He's probably the one that'd have a tough time.
Yeah, I don't think Hank can go anywhere in the world, dude.
And everything else, right? He's already
guy's an absolute stud.
Hey, Gumps,
I can't go anywhere.
That's because that guy's going to the convenience store in a 3-piece suit. That's why he's been fucking recognized.
The one good thing though about I mean, you had connections everywhere you went though in the city, which was nice. I mean, restaurants, clubs, bar. You know, if you wanted to do something, it was at your fingertips, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, take us down to Tampa. I mean, that was, I'll share with these guys now. Just working the Stanley Cup Finals, this past Finals, because obviously with COVID. Didn't get to the prior, and I ran into Callie and his wife outside the arena the one day, and Callie was, and I'd like to maybe get into that at the end here. Just from your work in the community down there, you're getting honored at the game, and I just thought to myself, like, wherever this guy goes, like, he's a fan favorite. I mean, how were you received down there in Tampa? And how about that group of guys?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was a bit nerve-wracking. I got traded, obviously, for Marty St. Louis. So, you get traded, and by no means am I going to come close to filling his shoes. Or, I came with like 3 first-rounders, so it wasn't just me for him. But you go to a city like that, and a guy like Marty's leaving. It's a bit nerve-wracking, and the fans there right away. I mean, right from game one, embraced me. They gave me a standing ovation. I actually went in the shootout. I missed, but they gave me a standing ovation in the shootout, and I'm like, wow, like this is pretty cool. You know what I mean? And
probably because you ran every single guy on their team through the period. That's why.
Like finally, give us a break. But it was awesome. I loved it there, and I was going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and as soon as the year ended, I'm like, I'm re-signing here. This place is awesome. Great place to play. Not to mention we had an unbelievable team, a young team. You could tell that was going to be really good. And then, I was there. I played there for 5 years. We made 1 Stanley Cup Finals, 2 conference finals. We had some really, really good runs there. And the fan base, the city, I memean, it's nothing like you'd expect from a Florida-based hockey team.
They put a show on. Man. Every game is like, whatever what do they call it? Thunder Alley right outside there.
Yeah, big concert going. It's awesome. Yeah.
It's the place to be.
Yeah. So I loved my time there. We obviously, as Robert was saying, my wife was there as well. And we just started having kids as well. So timing wise couldn't have been better. We got out of the city. We were in Tampa where, family life is awesome. The beach is half hour away. So it was awesome. We had really good teams there. And like I said, it's a great city to play in.
Ryan, in that moment, how did you find out you were getting traded? And in the moment, what were you feeling like? Were you upset? Were you frustrated? Or were you kind of relieved? Or what was that emotional process like for you?
Yeah, I mean, so without getting into the details of the whole year, I mean, the whole year was a long year. It was a contract year for me, right? And things weren't going well. I mean, me and the Rangers, we were butting heads like crazy. It got really kind of ugly towards the end. And we actually eventually agreed on terms of money. And they wouldn't give me a no trade or no move, which they gave my good buddy Dan Girardi 2 weeks earlier. There was so much rumors already about me getting traded, threatening to trade me. I was terrified to sign the deal and being shipped out. Right. So the writing was kind of on the wall right there. Like, if they won't give me that, it's not looking good. And so it ended up coming right down to trade deadline day. We had a game that day. We went out for pregame skate, and Rupper, as you know, everybody TSN Trade Center, NHL Network Trade Centers on the room in the training room. So we're all sitting there, and sure as shit, Bob McKenzie pops up and says, breaking news, Marty St. Louis traded the New York Rangers for Ryan Callahan, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm staring at it. The whole room just kind of goes silent, and probably 3 seconds later, JR, our media guy our PR guy opens the door and says Slats wants to see you in the lounge. So I'm like, I wonder what he wants to see me about. So,
a little late, huh?
Yeah. So I walk in there and I'll be honest with you guys, I broke down. I mean, I was crying. I mean, there's guys in the room that were crying. Jim Ramsey, our head of letter trainer, was crying. I mean, it was emotional. you know, a lot of people, the New York fans, I guess, questioned me not resigning there. Or did I want to stay there? But everything I said of my heart being there, me wanting to be, it was true, you know, and it just got to a point with negotiations where it got to a point where they were signing all these big free agents everywhere. You know, and I'm a homegrown guy. I'm the captain of this team. You know, you want me to take another lump and not, you know, take a discount again. And, you know, it didn't go well, the negotiations, partly my fault, partly their fault, but it was really hard. And the hardest part probably was my wife. We had a 2-year-old at the time. She was pregnant with our second. So I call her and I'm like, we just got traded to Tampa. I'm going to be on a flight at 7 p.m. It's 2:00 now. I'm like, I'm on a flight at 7. You got to figure out the apartment. You got to figure out everything. Mm-hmm. So sure as shit, I ran home. I had 800 media people calling me. I had to completely turn off my phone. And then, I was on a flight at 7. I remember getting to a hotel in Tampa, and I get to Tampa and they have a whole full spread in the hotel room for me, a big bucket of beers. And I never dove into a bucket of beers so fast in my life. I'm like, I need these right now, just double fisted in the room. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. So but it was an emotional time.
It was close to the deadline, wasn't it, Callie? That trade was late in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty close. We were about an hour or two away from the deadline. So yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, yeah, I guess we had to deal with come to later find out, and doesn't matter now, but we had a deal. They had to deal with San Jose also if that Tampa deal fell through. So they were definitely shipping me out that day. It was just a matter of where.
Yeah, you know, and that's the tough part in this business. And you mentioned that, you know, you got to leave your young child with your wife who's pregnant, and then she's got to hold down fort while you're going. And what's on your mind is getting in there. You're meeting new guys. You're trying to fit in and make sure that they feel like, I mean, they traded Marty St. Louis for you. So there's a lot of pressure for you. So this is a tough part of the business that can really beat you up, I guess. The one thing I want to share one more story with you, and we can probably start wrapping it up. But when I signed in New York, I went in there, and the way it works, like you guys wear your whatever gear you're wearing. I was an Easton guy at the time, so Easton helmet, Easton pants, Easton gloves, whatever. So I went in there, and the Rangers issue me these gloves. And I get my Easton gloves. They already had them. We're up on the cuff. But I got this big pad. Going across my hand. And it's like, so you got the normal glove like this, right? And it's just this giant pad that looked like it came off my glove that far. And there's certain things aesthetically when you're playing that you can't have, right? Like if you see things in the corner, it fucks with you. And so I had it in practice, and I'm like, come off the ice. And I go to Cass, our equipment guy, hey, Cass, I don't know why Easton sent these gloves like this. Like, I can't use these. Like, why did they put this pad on there? Oh, they didn't put the pad on there. Slats has everybody wearing these pads. I'm like, we all have to wear these pads? I'm like, I'm not wearing these pads. He goes, no, you have to. Like, Slats will make you. I go, why do I have to wear these pads? He goes, well, Callie's broke his hand twice blocking shots at the top of his hand. Like, he broke it. Maybe you could tell the story on that. I'm pretty sure it was twice. He broke it the one time. I think he just came back and broke something else again. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not fucking nuts like that guy. I'm not going to block like he blocks shots. Like, if I'm blocking, it's going to hit me in the foot. It's not going to hit me in the hand. But sure as hell, I had to wear those ugly-ass gloves all year.
Yeah. If you look around the league now, the manufacturers actually make that. Why
are you blocking shots with your hands down like this? Like I don't understand that.
Look at how much more room you're covering down low there, Rupper, huh? You actually got to want to block the shot when you go to block it, you know?
I wasn't a big fan of doing that. So
hey, that was against Pittsburgh, wasn't it? I remember that.
Yeah,
whenever I think.
Yep, it was Chris Letang against Pittsburgh. Yep. And the weird
whenever I think of block and go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, as I was going to say,
whenever I think of block and shots,
put your figure up. All right, all right, Gumps, go ahead.
No, Callie, let it eat.
Oh, that's awesome. So I remember that shot. Letang I obviously blocked a lot of hard shots, and it was just a wrist shot, and it ended up hitting me just in the right spot. And I came back to the bench, and I took my glove off, and my knuckle in my left hand was basically missing, like it wasn't there, right? Yeah. And I'm sitting next to Girardi, and I take off my glove, and I'm looking at my hand, and you could just see, and you know, Girardi is sarcastic, dry humor he has. He looks over, he looks at my hand, he goes, "Oh, yeah, that's not good, Callie." Like that. You see him wave down, whatever walks down. It's like, yeah, you're done. But yeah, so Slats made to put that pad on everybody after that.
Didn't you break it again though?
I ended up breaking my thumb later, but it had nothing to do with the pad.
Hey, was there ever a thought like, yeah, maybe I'm not going to step in front of this Zdeno Chara slap shot from the point or this Shea Weber clap bomb? Was there ever a thought like, okay, maybe I'll just miss this one or flamingo it a little bit? Never, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Like, looking back on it now, as messed up as it was, like, I enjoyed it. Like I used to line up against Ovechkin on that weak side on the power play, and like I used to get excited. I'm like, I want it. I want that shot. I want to eat it. Like, I don't. And it sounds weird and everything else, and trust me, it does. I don't know. Like it was just part of my game. It was part of what I did. I enjoyed doing it. I knew how much it lifted the team up. I knew how much it lifted the guys up. How much it meant. And I think it goes back even to what Rupper was saying about being the captain there, or a leader in general. Is, how do you expect, Rupper or anybody else to go out there, star players, and block a shot or lay down in front of one late in the game if you're not going to do it yourself? So I can't sit there and say, hey, Rupper, what the hell are you doing? Block that shot if I'm flamingoing or not doing it myself. So there's that sense of accountability, I think, throughout the room when your head guys are doing it.
Gumps, what do you got, buddy?
Let's hear it.
You're going to say that before.
Whenever I think of blocked shots, I always think of Craig Ludwig and those big pads on his fucking legs.
Big monster pads, yeah. Some of the guys used to. Hey, Callie, did you wear shot blockers on your skates? Those plastic?
I never wore the big plastic ones. Cass, the equipment guy at the Rangers, who was unbelievable with molding equipment and everything, he actually made the like black molds that fit right onto my skate, because I refused to wear those big clunky clear ones that everybody else wore.
You sit there and I guess the way I had to play the game, people would think that I was tough, and I will say this: blocking shots is a new level, and I wasn't as tough as you, Callie, and the guys that do that. I remember I was playing against the New York Islanders once, and it went D to D, wide pass, and I came flying up. I think it was, what's that guy's name? Milan Jersina. He had a big slap shot from the blue line. Yeah. And I slid, and I never slide. Like, I usually just made it like, I have big feet. I turn my feet sideways. I could take them off my foot. So I slid, and it hit you. And Callie's probably done this 1,000 times. It hit you it hit me right in the side of the knee, like almost to the back of my knee. And there's a nerve that it hit, and your leg just goes dead, like dead leg. And I got up, and I was like, this is when I was in Pittsburgh. I was about 15 feet from the bench, and the boys were going nuts. Like, yeah, Rafa. And I get up, and I'm like one leg hobbling over. I get in the bench, and we had Chris Stewart there, and I'm like, Stewie, it's broke. It's broke. Stewie, it's broke. Oh, my leg's fucking broke. I'm like, oh my God. So I get on the bench, and he's like, well, what happened? What do you feel? I'm like, dude, I don't feel anything. He's like, you don't feel this? I'm like, nothing, dude. I'm like, my leg's fucking broke. And then like a minute and a half goes by. I'm like, I'm starting to feel it again. I think I'm going to be okay. And then I started walking around, and the feelings started coming back. I'm like, how do these guys do this all the time, man? Like, I was like, I'm never playing hockey again. I just shattered my leg. I mean, what was one of the worst block shots you had?
Probably that Chara shot was the worst that we talked about earlier. That he basically was doing the hardest shot competition. I think he came off the bench. The puck came out to the blue line. He walked into it, caught me in the ankle. And then I remember getting back I finished the shift. I couldn't feel anything. Like, it wasn't me being tough. Like, even if it broke, but like, your just whole leg's numb, right? So it's not like it hurts at that point. You're like, something's wrong. But so I finished it. I get off, and it was an empty net. And Torts is like, you're good to go again. You're good to go again. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm good to go again. So I'm sitting there waiting for my turn to go over again. And luckily somebody scored on the empty net before the shift. And And as I sit there a little longer, I'm like, oh, this feels a little bit different than the normal block shot. You know? I ended up missing the playoffs that year. It was late in the season, but yeah, talking about block shots and see, I broke bones a lot when I did it, but you know who used to eat pucks and never get hurt is Dan Girardi.
Cool. Yeah.
He is. I'll say this.
But he never got hurt. Like he never. I mean, his ankles right now to this day are still completely deformed, but he never broke bones, and I don't get it.
Hey, it feels like too, like with you guys, Callie, you as a winger, like it feels like you'd almost rather eat that puck from close range than to take it where Girardi was, just way back there at the net when it had time to pick up speed or take a ricochet and you couldn't see it anymore.
Well, that's part of this. That's part of the system we played. What was the issue with us forwards blocking shots is we in our system you wanted us collapsing so far down low to the front of the net, right? So in our system, our point men were open. And that's why we had to block so many shots, and that's why it was expected of us, because that's what we would give up in our system is that pass to the point. So you didn't have time to close the gap at that point. You had to get down to one knee, and you had to start eating them.
Yeah, and Callie is played the game the right way, and he was nuts. But he was
fucking animal, dude.
He would. I think Callie would second this. Dan Girardi. And I'm including guys like Scotty Stevens. I'm including Ken Danicos that I played with. Dan Girardi was the toughest player I've ever played with. Is what he put, like what he was willing to do for the team and get hurt. And dude, that guy, tell us because you played with him for a long time. I only played with him for 2 years. Like, do you have something on G that you saw or something he played through? I mean, he was a warrior.
I mean, that guy played through every playoff. It seemed like something was terribly wrong, but I remember what we were playing in Washington. I don't know if you were with us or not. It was in the playoffs, and he wasn't a block shot. He went to hit somebody, and he came back to the bench, and his finger literally was like a Z, and it was the bone. You could see it like didn't come through the skin, but it was popping out of the skin, right? So he goes back to the training room, and playoffs, all your doctors travel with you, right? So our doc comes in and looks at him, and I remember G telling me the story. I wasn't in the room, but he's like, he looks at it, he's like looking at it, he's like, you know, how does it all of a sudden, boom, he pulls it on him, right? pops it back in, and it's still like all messed up, deformed. He had to get stitches because it ended up breaking the skin a little bit. Sure as shit, played the rest of that game, played the rest of that series with that finger. Like, it was unfucking believable. I don't know how he did it. I have no idea how he did it. And then, I mean, his ankles, he'd take these shots off his ankles, and I don't know how many times he'd have buildup of fluid in his ankles that he eventually had to get surgery on and get it removed. And he had so many issues with it. And even in Tampa, the same thing, he had issues with it. But that guy just ran through everything. Like nothing bothered him. It was unbelievable.
That's unreal, man. Well, listen, dude. Hey, we've kept you long, and it's as much longer than we planned, but we can listen to you all day long. I just wanted one thing just to give you an opportunity. Share what you guys are doing with the Ryan Callahan Foundation, man. I love it. You're a warrior on the ice, and you're fighting for people off the ice as well. Yeah, so it all started in Tampa. When I got traded there, I wanted to do something, give back. I signed a big deal there. My wife and I was affected by pediatric cancer, a little bit younger in life. Her family was, so we kind of gravitated towards that with young kids ourselves. So it all started with just having pediatric cancer patients and their families come to the game and sit in a suite, come down afterwards, sign some autographs, meet the kids. And through doing that, we met so many great kids, so many great families. We're like, we got to do more, right? So that's when we established the Ryan Callahan Foundation. We got 501c3, we got legalized. And through that, we started making what we called the 2-4 Club, where we did Make-A-Wish style vacations once a month for these families. Our whole foundation is not around research, but around family unity. Getting away from the treatment center, spending time together away from the treatment center, worrying about the siblings, the parents, everybody involved, because it's not the child that gets diagnosed, it's the whole family that gets diagnosed, right? So we started with that. Now we've just kind of, through these years, we've just met so many great families. We've kind of morphed into a little bit of everything. We do financial help. We pay mortgages. We pay bills because, I mean, a lot of people, and I didn't know myself until I started talking to these families and getting to know them better. Like,
So their kid's at the treatment center and they have to be with their daughter or son 24/7, and they end up losing their job because they're not at their job, and obviously jobs.
They got to pay the bills.
They got to pay the bills, so they'll still keep coming. So we even pay gas cards so they can make them back and forth to the hospital. We've done giving babysitters to the families so the mom and dad can go on a date night for the first time in 4 years. Little things like that. And through COVID, we started Callie's Comforts, where we send like hair, nails, massage into the people's houses, photographers, so they get all dialed up. We get meals for them. They take family photos together. So, I mean, I could talk about it forever, but we've kind of just evolved, and we're just learning more and more about it, trying to help as many families as we can. We're still in the Tampa Bay community a ton. We'll always be there, but we're starting to get our roots now in Rochester, New York, where we're both from, where we both live now. So we're growing, and you go to RyanCallahanFoundation.org, read up about it, find out more about it. If you want to help, volunteer, donate, anything is welcome, because I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have kids, Rupper, I know you do, but put yourself in these families' shoes. How do you tell your 4-year-old, your 5-year-old that they're going to be in a fight for their lives? I couldn't imagine doing it. I see how strong these parents and these kids are. I couldn't think of a better cause to help. So we love it. I mean, I could talk about it, like I said, forever. When I talk about my career and the block shots, being captain, the Olympics, honestly, what I'm most proud of is what we've done through this foundation. It's affected so many people, and we've touched so many people, and it was, I'm probably most proud of that. So it's awesome.
Man, I love
That's
it.
Fucking awesome.
No, it's great, dude. That's why you're one of my favorite teammates, dude. Big heart on and off the ice. You're the best. All the best to you, your wife, your family, and thanks for coming on, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Let's do it again too. This was fun.
Yeah, let's do it, buddy.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thanks, boss.
He's great, man. Right? Like
what a guy.
Salt of the earth type guy, right?
Selfless.
No, yeah. He's that blue collar,
Hell yeah.
First off, Callie, I love you to death. You ain't 5'10" and a half. There's not a chance in hell that dude's 5'10" and a half. And that's a compliment.
There's nothing wrong with that, Rupper. There's nothing wrong with spinning that yarn, pal.
Oh, man. No, but yeah, he was great, huh?
That was awesome, man. I didn't know what to expect with him. I knew, you hear stories and you watch the way he played, and it was awesome to watch him throughout the years, even as I don't want to say a villain because I was a Penguins fan, but like to me, the Rangers were like, hey, they'd always beat up on Sid and Letang, and they played you physical. You mentioned it, the black and blue Rangers, and he was the heart and soul of those guys there for a while, and he was awesome. It's great to learn about his foundation too, what he's doing. That's absolutely amazing. That's all the stuff too that you never think about that those families have to go through. That's just incredible.
No, they're unbelievable family, what they're doing there. Gumps, so far so good for your pesky Stars. We got halfway through the first, still 0-0. So they're hanging in there for you.
We might not get a goal tonight in any fucking game, Rucker. We got Leafs Flyers fucking halfway through the second, 0-0. Fucking cagey affairs everywhere. Fuck.
Hey, before we get too far into the action on the ice here, let's do some housekeeping here real quick. You're alive, but are you living? If you want to live, go to an NHL game and go see these guys up close and personal. Sit on the glass if you want to. It'd be a fucking great time. Use SeatGeek. The link to get the discount is actually in the description of this YouTube live. If you're listening on the podcast, come to youtube.com/That's Hockey Talk. Check it out. You can save up to 15% off of any ticket purchase you want for the rest of the NHL season. Go see a game. It's the best sport to go see live. Sit up on the glass and watch guys like Rupper and Callie smash people into the glass. It's fucking, let's go, boys.
Break fingers in ridiculous fashion. All those.
Hey, so
almost like he had two separate careers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Tampa and New York, just so different. I mean, that's awesome. He could be so good in both places.
You know what? I didn't want to bring this up on while he's on, because I know, how hockey guys are. They generally don't want to like pump their own tires and stuff. But like, he was on that team when they got swept by Columbus, remember? And then that was like the big turning point. But for that team to get over the hump, I think Danny Girardi was there with them. Those two guys, I wasn't inside that room, but I think guys like that showed this group, that group that we've seen win the last 2 years. I'm not saying they deserve to get a cup ring, but the way they played, those grizzled veterans, that showed this Tampa team like that's what it's going to take to get over the hump. And Tampa's done that in the last 2 seasons. So I think that there's fingerprints of Danny Girardi and Ryan Callahan on that Tampa team the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm so curious to see how this Tampa season is going to play out, because like I keep bringing it up and I keep banging this drum. Like they lost that whole third line of Gord, Goodrow, and Coleman. Like and those guys were, they're not Ryan Callahan, but they played a similar fashion where they would put their body on the line to make a play and do things like that. And I'm interested to see how the Bolts hold up, because that's a lot of hockey over the past couple of seasons. And to lose an identity line like that, it's tough.
An entire line. Entire line. Not one guy, not two guys, a whole line. That's nuts.
Just before we went live, we saw some breaking news from Elliot Friedman. The Ducks general manager, Bob Murray, is taking some time. It sounds like he's done. He's out. He's going into an alcohol treatment program. So, hopefully everything gets resolved there. And because it feels like the Ducks are on the bit of a rebound here. The Anaheim Ducks, it seems like they're exceeding expectations a little bit. So we hope everything involved around that investigation and his situation gets sorted out and worked out properly. We hope for the best there. But Anaheim, Rupper, what's going on? Like, where did this come from? Like, we knew they had some younger guys, but they Corey Perry heads out the door a couple years ago. Getzlaf sticks around. He's still there. That we knew they had some younger guys and Zegras and Troy Terry, but Gibson's still there. But I don't think anybody was quite ready for them to be in a playoff spot. I think everyone was still kind of thinking them of last year's Ducks as kind of towards the bottom basement dwellers a little bit. But hey, they're shocking some people.
Yeah, they are. And their top line with Troy Terry, who's shooting a smooth 32% shooting percentage to start the year. He's on fire, 5th in the NHL in points. He's playing with Ryan Getzlaf, and who's the all-time now. We just the other day passed Teemu Selanne for the all-time Ducks point leader, and Adam Henrique. So he's playing with 2 veteran guys. I was talking to Bruce Boudreau the other day, and he was talking about his time coaching Anaheim there, and he was talking about Getzy. And he said Getzy was unreal because he would sit there sometimes where maybe the team was shitting the bed for the period. They're walking off the ice. And he said he was usually the last guy to come off the bench or whatever to go in between periods. And Getzy was one of the last players. And Bruce, wanted to come in and just ream the boys out. And he said Getzy would just put his hand out and say, "I got this one." And would just and Bruce said that he would even sometimes just listen, and he would just be giving it to the boys. Like, he knew when the right time. Like, Getzy's a leader, and it's so. You could look at it one of two ways. Some people would say, "Hey, I like Ryan Getzlaf to try to go and win a cup somewhere else."
Yeah,
whether it's getting traded or signing somewhere else. But that guy's a Duck, man. He wants to be an Anaheim Duck for his whole career. I mean, that guy could probably do whatever he wants in that organization post-career. So what he's doing here is he's taking his time with the youth there. He's grabbing Trevor Zegras. He's grabbing Troy Terry, Max Comtois. He's doing these things with these guys. He's fucking preparing them how to play in the National Hockey League. I love it. They've been a great surprise so far. They got a really nice group on the back end. John Gibson, I think, is the top 5 goalie in this entire league.
Yeah.
This team is not just this team. All the California teams out of nowhere.
Kings are fucking rolling. Dude.
They've been fucking unreal.
Kings.
They've been so good, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Fucking did the Habs last night.
They've been good, man. They've been good.
Hey,
it's good to see. It's good to see. I think it's good for hockey when LA and the Ducks are good. I really do.
You need it.
In the last couple of years, they haven't been. But not even that. San Jose too. San Jose's been nice. I mean, this is really bad news for the Canucks. This is really bad news for the Kraken, because those are teams
Canucks
that we thought would be put. Yeah, they're not looking too good right now. But when those other teams, you wouldn't think that used to be the gauntlet. Like pretty much my entire career going on that Western California trip. You're pumped. You're packing your sunglasses in your bag. You're getting your dress down clothes. You're spending some time in California. But in the back of your mind, you're like, we might get our asses handed to us 3 games in a row here. So
Enjoy the sun, boys. Nylander just sniped for the Leafs.
That was on
15. So hold on. I got a little excited there. I just poured my water all over my damn face. 15 straight goals for the Leafs from their top 4 big dogs. Is that something that you like because the big guys are doing it? Nylander, Tavares, Marner, Matthews, or is that like, holy shit, boys, 15 straight goals?
We got.
I like it, and you could probably speak to this, Rupper. I like it in stretches. As a Penguins fan, I've seen roster construction in that way where it kind of has to be that way, where you need those big guys, the guys that are making top dollar to carry your team for a while. And that's the way those teams are built. That's the way the Leafs are built now. We talked about it episodes in the past. Like, they've got a lot of the same type of player.
Yeah.
And if those guys aren't doing it, it becomes awfully hard to win games. So, yeah, they're not going to keep it up all year like that. Tavares, they're all going to go through their individual slumps, and sometimes it'll happen all at the same time, and you'll count on guys throughout the rest of the lineup to do it. But if it's short-term bursts, it's fine. But as you know, you need the guys throughout the lineup.
Yeah.
You need that bottom 6 to kick in from time to time.
They got to contribute more,
or
at all.
The thing that I love about the Leafs, they could win every game for the rest of the season.
It doesn't matter.
It don't mean a thing until that puck drops in the playoffs. Not a damn thing.
They could have finished this year. If they came out of the gates, they could have ran an 82-0, and people would be like, "I haven't seen shit. Let's see how they are in the playoffs." But see, that's how. So we were talking about this the other day too. I'm like, I almost feel weird saying this, but I don't know what it is about the Leafs. If it's just the Leafs and Leafs Nation that brings this on. But the beginning of the season, Willie Nylander was the only guy doing anything. So Marner's Matthews was out. But anyways, Marner, Matthews, Tavares were very slow starts to their season. The big guys aren't going. Toronto's in trouble. Here we go again. Blow the team up. Get rid of Sheldon Keefe. Now, all of a sudden, these guys are on an absolute tear. They're winning games. The best players are being their best players. And now we're fucking saying, the big guys are doing everything for. I don't know if there's another team that we do this to in Toronto.
No.
And I kind of love it. I kind of love it.
I love it. There's nothing better than shitting on the Leafs, dude.
They do take it on the shins. But hey, I feel like the same thing's kind of happening in New York with the Rangers, and we probably should have asked Callahan about this, but I feel like their big names aren't the ones doing it, and they're still winning games. They're second in the Metro. I don't think anyone saw it. It feels like they're ahead of schedule with this whole this whole rebuild process they're going through. But Capo Caco, former second overall pick, what does he have? 0 points in 9 games. And Lafreniere's I think he's on the 4th line. And I know Panarin hasn't had the best start that he's ever had in his career. I don't want to say there should be panic because they're still winning games, but is this a good sign? Is this good that these guys are all struggling now, but they're still winning? So when they do eventually wake up, everybody's clicking.
I don't know, because that's one team, that I've probably watched. I probably watched the most of the Rangers so far this year. They've been not just outplayed. They've been severely outplayed in almost every game. And they've got a really good record right now. What are they? They're 7-3-3 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
So they've got a good record. So I don't know. I don't know what you make of that. You say, well, we're not playing our best brand of hockey, but we're still banking points. Yeah, sure. That's a real thing. But at some point, you can't rely on Igor Shesterkin. You know what I mean? He's right now he's the leader in the house right now. And at some point, you got to look different, and they've got to have contributions throughout. They're not defending. They're not doing a lot of things very good, but they're still winning. So I don't know. This team can go either way for me.
Okay. On the flip side of that, it's time to get selfish here. The Pens, by all accounts, they're playing pretty well. It feels like you look at You watch the game, you feel like they're in every game. You look at the analytics. The analytics say they should be getting more goals and getting more chances, and they're out chancing teams and they're out possessing teams. They're not getting the results though. What is it, just from a bird's eye view from your point? Is it goaltending? Is it, do they literally just need to get Sid back? We know Sullivan was out with COVID now, the coach. Like, what's going on with this? They're last in the Metro, which is a little bit of shock if you're just looking at the standings, because you expect them to always be in the mix, but they've been battling injuries. They've been battling COVID. Is that an excuse? Can we keep making that excuse? Or is it time to start thinking, okay, hey, we need to worry here?
Is this where Pat's going to jump in? Because we're talking Pens. We should bring him in, bring in the lefty from the bullpen. We're talking to Pens. Pat, where you at?
This is, in fairness, this is my own selfish concern here. This is for me.
Okay, well, I want your opinion on this as a diehard Pens fan, and I want Pens Nation to let us know too, because I'm being honest, or I'm being just as straightforward as I could be here, and I want Chris Letang to be a Penguin forever. Yeah. I want Evgeny Malkin to be a Penguin forever. Sidney Crosby will be a Penguin forever. These guys have done everything for this organization. But with that being said, how do we evaluate this team? You know what I mean? Like, this was a big question. And the thing we have to start kind of wrapping our minds around, what is the proper way that you think this should be handled? Where you've got Ron Hextall and Brian Burke, very smart men, make very shrewd, good decisions over the course of their careers in the front office. They shouldn't. I'm not speaking on their behalf because I have no idea what they're thinking right now. But they don't have an allegiance to these guys. They're brought in here to figure out how to move this team forward. Can this team still win a cup now? They have to decide that. It's really hard to decide that when they don't have the full team to ice. How are you able to evaluate that? You've got a pending UFA in Letang. You've got a pending UFA in Malkin. You cannot let them both walk. You know what I mean? So if it's having them a part of things moving forward, and that's how you evaluated the team, that window is still open, then do it, because everybody would love it. But if you're thinking that potentially this team doesn't have enough to do that, fans, I think, got to start wrapping their mind around they might have to part ways. It's what would be best for the team. I don't know how you go about it. I don't know if you talk to the players. They both are hell of a players still. But it's the bigger question. It's not like Jim Rutherford's there and he has won these cups with these guys and he's going to go to them and say, what do you guys want? I will do what you want. Because Bill Torrey did that with the New York Islanders back in the 80s. Okay, he did that. He went to those guys. I want you guys to retire, New York Islanders. I'm not going to be the guy to break up the band. Kept them there, and then they aged out, and then they kind of went down, and they had a long time up until that's a whole nother story. That's due to the hands of Mike Milbury and a lot of it, but they lost their way. They weren't able to gain any assets for those players. We've seen LA, who we thought did it for these last number of years, Chicago do it for the last number of years. I don't know if LA, those guys are still contributing. Those guys they won their cups with, but you know what I mean? Like, what do you want as a Penguin fan, Nick? Like, would you at all costs, do you want to see the big three retire Penguins, or would you like to see this team still build for the future and try to get another run at a cup?
Rupper, I want fucking both.
Everybody wants it. Everybody wants both, man. I don't know. Maybe you could do both. Pat, what do you want? You want both or what? Do you hear
Rupper?
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy. How you been?
Fantastic. Thanks.
What are you sleeping?
Yeah.
I might have taken off to Snooper maybe with the fan here. And maybe, drifting away into La La Land. But let's talk about La La Land. Hey, Rupper.
Yeah.
We want to win the fucking cup every year, pal. Okay, I don't even know what we're thinking. This isn't like the Detroit Red Wings where we're okay with just not even being invited to the tournament. This isn't like the stupid-ass Bruins, okay? This isn't like any of these other teams that are potentially represented in the comment section right now that all just kind of get quiet when Penguins chatter starts because hockey, tan, is where the conversation begins and ends, Rupper. You're saying we're going to take them out behind the barn? All these
No,
guys?
no. I'm not saying that. Listen, I want these guys there. All I'm saying is you might want to entertain the idea that it might be time. It might be time.
Pat, he's got to work a Pens game in like 2 weeks. He told me today it's going to be an awkward conversation when he walks into that building.
Yeah.
Hey, Rupper, I heard you want to take Gino out behind a barn, put him down.
Kill him. You guys like Gino, huh? You like Letang? How about Sid? Did you want to get Math out of town too? Or you the one that said put him up on the fucking option for that cheap draft that got him out of town, Rupper? What is your deal, dude? And then I saw we had a guy on the show that didn't play for the Pens. He didn't even play for the goddamn NHL then. What do we even got this guy play? I mean, Callie, I missed him, I think. I heard he's handsome as a leader.
He was great.
Dude, Callie, Pens fans would have loved Callie on their team, man. He would have been lunch pail Pittsburgh through and through. He would have been perfect.
That's a shame. I missed him. If Mario wanted him, he would have signed him. You know what I mean? And that's what I think. And that's the thing. You know, that AJ Galante and Mario got right. You bring in the Rupper when you want to fucking win a game. But also, I would accept Pasta as a Penguins player. You know, like I think we should potentially go trade and get him.
Okay.
I like him. I'd also like maybe McJesus to become Mick Sidney's assistant.
That goal he scored the other night.
Hey, that goal was filthy.
Ridiculous, right?
He's almost as good as like maybe Sid in one asset of the game. You know what I mean? It's pretty.
Hey, I saw AJ rocking the Avs zip up quarter zip today. That was nice. I like that.
I hated it, Rupper. I do it again. Are there Avalanche good team? Are they a good squad?
So if we got him Pens quarter zip, would he wear it?
I don't think so because his brother-in-law. His brother's related to the.
His brother-in-law played for the Pens too, so I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
Rupper,
what I'm saying.
You should have heard what these guys made me say about Jack Johnson today.
Made you say you were sitting on that for years.
I heard what you said about Jack Johnson today.
Nick's a
I didn't want to
terrible
do
guy.
it.
I didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it. Jack had a rough go in Pittsburgh. He took a beating with a lot of people online. I didn't want to do it.
A lot of people online. How about
a lot of people online.
This guy can't even skate, you said.
Grinning like the butcher's dog saying that shit today.
I mean, I'm not doing it again. You're not suckering me into it again.
Do you remember what you said today about this guy? Go ahead, say it again, Rupper. Did you hear what all he said about this guy? Go ahead and say it again, Nick.
I did.
You're going to get dummy, dude.
Were you wearing that shirt? Because you wearing the Trasher shirt. You're wearing the Trasher shirt, and then you just start turning into an asshole, right? Trying to fight with everybody.
Hey, Marotta would have been a good trasher.
You would have been a good trasher. You would have. Just run it. Just run the mouth. Stick some guys. Give a little.
Hey, come on.
Little shots and get out of there. That'd be nice.
Oh, Frankie Sticks, he would have been a good trasher. Hey, what if me and the Galantes become friends long term? Like, what if me and Jimmy Galante are just friends? Did anybody ever think about that?
So
That's good for business.
I got something to throw out there the other day. Listen to this. I went into New Jersey. I was doing something for the devs in their for their media stuff, and they're talking to me, and they're talking about that documentary. Remember, AJ in the documentary was a big Devils fan, right? And they're like, "What do you think if we have Danbury Trashers Night at the Devils game?" I think that's amazing. You're going to Tony Soprano land in New Jersey, where all the bodies were dumped in the Meadowlands right over there, and you're gonna have, and you can have this like that. They got to do that. We got to get this going on the internet. Devils to have Danbury Trashers Night.
Do the Devils even have fans anymore? Like aside from AJ, does anybody care about the Devils anymore, or is that still a thing, or is it good for them? Man, I honestly forgot they even existed, but I mean they have been gone for a while, right? Like the Devils haven't really been a squad for a long time.
They've struggled for a little bit, for a couple years now.
Yeah,
but Rupper, you won a cup with them.
Yeah, we're the last good team. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean,
no, they've had some good teams. They went.
Hey, Rupper's going into the Pittsburgh barn, fucking getting run out of there, going into the Devils barn. Hey, where's you said, pal? I mean, Jesus.
I got no home now. I got no home. I got nowhere to, I'm getting banned from all the alumni programs just from speaking my mind,
Hey, Rupper, I'll tell you this. you doing a show with these two toxic guys, you're going to get sucked into it regardless. I mean, you had no chance of not burning every bridge you had with these two guys guiding the ship every single time. No chance. No chance of you not burning it all down.
Well, at least we go down in flames, man.
Rupper, do you know Jack Johnson?
I don't know.
Man of pancakes.
We need to get him on the show because I guarantee he's a great guy with tremendous stories.
First of all,
don't try and backpedal, dude.
Bro, he'll smack you in the mouth.
You know what? Hey, you know what?
He beat the fuck out of me.
Bro, he's got huge mitts. He's got huge mitts.
I like your instincts here, Pat, because you're reading this situation. Nick, your judgment. Do you know he came to Pittsburgh because he's best friends with Sid, right?
Rupper.
He's best boys with Sid.
Rupper, there are people that think the only reason he got that contract in Pittsburgh is because he's friends with Sid. They think Sid walked into Jim Rutherford's office and said, give that man 5 years and all the money you can give him.
Every player, or sorry, every team's got their scapegoat. And I don't know what it is with Jack Johnson. I've always heard he's an unbelievable dude. He's a good player. But for whatever reason, you just have here's another example. The guy I almost killed with my car, Eli Manning. Eli Manning, the way he would come off in his first few years in the league, he'd come off the field, he's pouty face, right? And then people are like, that guy can't be your quarterback. He's not. Look at him. That's what you're exuding. Like Jack Johnson, just his body language is just easy to pick on. You know what I mean? And that's what guys did. They did it in Columbus with him. They did it in Pittsburgh. I don't know if they're doing it in Colorado or if he's playing well there.
Is there a bully culture in the NHL that needs to be addressed? Why is Jack Johnson getting run off the ice?
Interesting.
His brother-in-law, AJ Hawk, will go out on the ice with no skates or helmet and headbutt everybody out.
Can AJ skate, you think?
No
way, dude.
He'd be so fun to watch on the ice.
Can you still skate? Yeah, obviously. Is that something like in basketball? If you're a shooter, you'll always be able to shoot. Like, can you still skate at an elite level?
Oh, not an elite level, no.
No. Were you ever able to skate?
I couldn't skate at an elite level when I played, dude.
You know, talented at skating.
Why do you think I was fighting? If I skated at an elite level, I wouldn't be fucking fighting all the time.
You gotta have good balance there to throw those hands, dude. You gotta have good balance to throw those hands out there.
Yeah.
Those
If I
refs.
skated good, my nose wouldn't be a goddamn boomerang. You know?
Oh, you ate a couple. Hey, you're gonna get got. You just gotta get yours more than you get got, though, Rupper. That's why you're on here, bub. You know what I mean? Those refs can fucking fly around. The refs are very talented skaters.
Hey, so I'm gonna give my weekly story when Pat comes on.
Yes,
here we go.
I like this. This is my bedtime story right now.
This is your bedtime, like literally. So I don't know how it works in other sports, but
is that booze in there? We got a little cocktail, what? A little cold beer, what?
What?
I had an old fashioned, and this is just water.
You classy son of a bitch.
Yeah, big old. Hey, that's what I picked up during the pandemic. I make a crazy old fashioned, but anyways,
you became an alcoholic during the pandemic. I do believe that became a. You're not the only one.
So you have the referees, right? And you see the same types of referees. I don't want to say it's regional, but a lot of times you see the same type of guys or the same group of guys. Do I want to say his name?
Yeah, Wes McCauley.
Let it eat.
It's not Wes McCauley. I'll think about it while I'm telling the story if I want to say his name. So anyways, we're in a game. There's a couple refs that you just have it out for, or they have it out for you. And I'm like, before the game, I get the paper. I look, I see who the referees are. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get a penalty called against me for sure in this game. And so I'll just say this: Bill McCreary.
Wild Bill.
We fucking hate that guy, dude.
He's a good dude. And I run into him actually in Pittsburgh all the time.
No.
I run into him in Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure he's like overseeing the referees now. But so this is a funny story about Bill. So I'm playing in New Jersey, and Bill, there's like the other team trips one of our guys, like a blatant call that's missed. I stand up on the bench. What you do just to be an asshole. I stand up on the bench, take my stick over the board, just boom, 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 boom. I mean, you can hear it through the arena, right? Just boom, boom, boom. Like, come on. It shows them up, right? Come on. And all of a sudden I see Bill just look across. He goes, Whoa, and he's got like this heavy mustache, like this. This mustache, you just eyeballing me across the way. And he looks at me, I'm standing up, I'm banging my stick. I'm like, fuck you, or whatever. So then the play goes on, and I'm tying my skates. I'm on the bench. I'm going like this. I bend down, I'm tying my skates. So like the top of the boards is right here. My head's down. TV timeout. All of a sudden, I hear, shh, someone stops right here. And I look up, and Bill McCreary's like eyeball to eyeball with me. And he goes, are you showing me up? You want to fucking go? You want to go? And he goes like this. I swear to God, he goes like this. He backs away from me. Let me grab my mic. He backs away from me from the bench. And he goes like this. Come on. And I stand up and I go, Bill, are you challenging me to a fucking fight? I'm like, you asshole. You think I can't? If I fight you, I'll never play a game in this league again. He goes, let's go. Come on, let's go, tough guy. And I'm like, my mind is going like in circles. I'm like, do I fight this guy? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was like, and like he totally won. He knew I couldn't do anything, and I'm just like, and it just got to him. I was like, you know what? I'm like, fuck you. And I sat down, and then it was like, I was like, he totally just dominated me right there. And then the next game we played, I was taking the opening face off of the game. He's dropping the puck. He's standing there before the puck drop. I look at him. He looks at me. I look at him. He looks at me. And finally, I go, hey, Bill. I go, Billy, let's bury the hatchet, man. I'm sorry. I got away from myself last game. I got away from myself last game. Like, this isn't – I don't treat referees like that. And he goes, no, I did too. I let the heat of the moment get the best of me. All right, man. Truce. All right, cool. Truce. Drops the puck. By the end of the first period, we're fuck you.
This seems to be a thing with you.
I run into him all the time. He's a great dude, but that's how it is, man. He's got to fight his fights out there too to save face.
Oh, Rob.
Should I have fought him?
Maybe.
Probably not.
I mean, pretty good content. You fight a ref, but also like probably banned forever, I'd assume.
Yeah, probably banned. I would probably never have a job ever in life.
That's what the NFL refs need, though. Like, think about an NFL ref. Think about Clete Blakeman walking over and going, "Hey, listen, you want to fucking go, dude? Shut up." That would be awesome, dude.
That's the best move for them to neutralize the situation because there's nothing a player can do. I think they should all take that approach.
I'll drop my whistle right fucking now, dude. Don't you? All right, you guys have a good one. Pens win the Stanley Cup or what? Yeah.
But I don't know, man. TBD. They got to have the big dogs back. When the big dogs
come
back,
you're trying to take them outside. You're trying to take the big dogs outside.
You're trying to yell at
No. I want those guys in Pittsburgh. I just need to see if the team.
2 scotches ago, you said something on this show that was very damning.
3 scotches ago.
All right, I appreciate you guys. This is a good show.
Hey, thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Have a good night, pal.
Shame on Miss Callie. I would have thanked him for his service to the United States hockey team when they lost to the United States captain, Sidney Crosby. I would have thanked him, but go Pens. We're gonna win the cup. Lord Stanley's coming home. I don't give a fuck what any of you say. See
ya.
Hey, great story. We need more ref stories out of you. So try and think of some more for the next couple weeks. The ref stuff is always the best.
Yeah, there's some good ones, man. I don't know. I got some. I'll bring them out. So.
Hey, we were talking about AJ. We were talking about Jack Johnson. Shout out Jack. Love you. Good job over there in Colorado. But Nathan McKinnon out 3 weeks now with a lower body injury, and the abs aren't quite what they once were. What do we think? Do we think they can tread water here?
I think so. I mean, that hurts having.
They're still loaded.
They're still loaded. That hurts not having him for 3 weeks. I'm a big Darcy Kemper fan. I mentioned it on here. He hasn't seemed to really feel or look comfortable yet, but the team has kind of like not really looked themselves in front of them. So I think give it a little more time. I mean, they're still in the mix. There's no one that's running away with that division. I mean, St. Louis, I don't have it in front of me right now. What is St. Louis tops in that? What do we got here? Yeah, St. Louis, Minnesota, Winnipeg. I mean, they've played more games. Still, they're still okay right now. But the next 3 weeks could determine it, though. I mean, you're talking that could be 9-10 games right there, 9-10 plus games. If they don't find their way in those, then you're digging yourself a big hole.
Yeah, and speaking of digging yourself a big hole, the Blackhawks finally did what I said they should. Jeremy Colleton got the X, whether he deserved it or not. It was the only move for them to make. You can't fire the players. You had to fire the coach. Derek King steps in there. I don't know much about Derek King, but he's got the boys going a little bit. They beat the Pens in the shootout the other night. They got the win in King's first. I think they're 2-0 with him. Is that right?
Yeah, there's always a big pushback when from the players, because when a coach gets fired, it kind of puts you in the crosshairs, right? As a player, there's no other line of defense.
Yeah, you're next.
Yeah, so you always get a bit of a push, and then after that, it's I don't know if you can sustain it or not. It depends. But in this situation, yeah, they've gotten some points in the last 2 games, so that's a good start.
And then Jack Eichel, of course, the big news from last week. Good call by you. You wanted to do the what we ended up calling the short shift segment, where you jumped on there and got like a live reaction to it, because we talked about this in off air, and you kind of mentioned like, hey, by the time we do another episode, it's going to be way in the rearview mirror. And look, here it is. We're stuffing it at the end of the episode. So good call on your part. You got a chance to talk to former Rangers GM Jeff Gorton. Hell of a guy. He's built a hell of a team in New York there. I think he was let go way too early, but that seemed to be a whole nother conversation for another time. But Eichel goes to Vegas. Buffalo gets a couple picks. They get Peyton Krebs. They get Alex Tuck, who's a hell of a player. Maybe they keep him. Maybe they flip him. And I know you reacted to that already, but if you just want to rehash your thoughts on Eichel going to Vegas, I think it's going to be awesome. They rolled out the red carpet for him. They had the girls were dancing. They're playing the drums. They're doing the thing. He's welcomed into the casino, into the hotel. They had him cranking the thing at the game the other night. He's going to get the surgery, and he'll probably play by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw that. I mean, you just mentioned it right there. That what was it when they got Mark Stone? They had the big thing at the airport too, right? They did bring out the full Vegas red carpet treatment. Yeah. I was thinking about it, like this is kind of where my mind goes when I'm watching shit like that. They're showing it on air the other night on the NHL Network when I was working, and I'm like, what if you're like that guy that gets traded there and you think you're the big shit and there's nothing, just crickets? Like that would fucking suck, right? Like these guys, I know these are the big guys, but like, what if you're like perceived in your own mind as being that big guy, and you go to Vegas and you're coming in there, you got your collar popped, you got the old glasses on, you get out of the car, and it's like nothing.
There's the PR guy just by himself,
just waiting for a fucking Uber at the airport.
No car service. Yeah, they're like, you got Uber, right? We'll send you the address so you can just type it in your Uber to come to T-Mobile. They kind of set the standard high with that. But hey, this is I always judge trades on who got the best player with the highest ceiling.
There you go.
That's Jack Eichel. And so I'm not saying that Buffalo got screwed. That's going to be decided in the years to come. I think Buffalo got a good pull out of this, but Jack's a different breed. And if he can get back healthy, I don't put this team as a cup favorite, but they've really improved their chances a lot with this guy. I think you get a lot of roster flexibility where you can use them. I actually don't think the best place for him will be with Pacioretty and Stone on that top line. I think if Chandler Stevenson did such a great job there last year, put Chandler Stevenson with those guys. Put Jack Eichel with Dadonov, which sounds silly saying, is that your third line? Like, no, you're just going to have 3 first lines, and that's a really good problem to have. So Pete DeBoer's got a lot of options. I love this trade.
Hey, I agree. When you have wingers like that who can like possess the puck and create plays on their own and don't need to have the puck distributed, yeah, just let them do their thing and balance out your lineup. And on that note, last thing I got here for you guys, Ovechkin, 3+ points in 3 different outings in the past couple of weeks. This guy's on fire again at 36 years old. He's still doing it. 741st career goal that ties him for 4th all time with Brett Hall, which is in and of itself an absolutely legendary Hall of Fame career. But this son of a bitch, he's gonna catch Wayne Gretzky's record. He's gonna do it.
I think he does. I mean, he's got to go. What did he just sign? Did he just sign a 5-year deal at the beginning or in the off season? And I think it was like 30 to 35 goals a year for the next, 4, 5. I mean, that's, dude, he's already was he at now 11 or 12 right
11,
now?
I think.
He's at 11 now. I mean, this guy's going to get 50 this year if he stays healthy. So I think he's going to I don't know. I think he gets that record.
Gumpy.
Yeah, I mean the guy's an absolute fucking weapon. Has been his whole career. He ain't slowing down. He's not slowing
Wild.
down at all.
Never
He's always
gets hurt
going to have
either.
that shot. He can find the net. He knows how to score goals. It's never going to change.
One thing I want to go over with you guys real quick before we go, and I want your guys' opinion on it too, because I think it's really interesting in a bunch of different categories. So with that Jack Eichel being talked about, and it doesn't look like most likely he's not going to be in the Olympics.
Which sucks.
Big kick in the kahunas for Team USA, big time. Let's talk about the center ice for Team USA and Team Canada. I'm thinking, like, who are some options you think for Team USA? I mean, Jack Eichel out, it opens up a lot. I mean, there's one gimme, Austin Matthews, right? Like Austin Matthews, boom, he's going to be number one center. After that, though, it gets a little tricky, a little dicey. I mean, you got Dylan Larkin. Does Jack Hughes now get into the mix a little bit more? I mean, he's not even playing right now. He's banged up. And then I love JT Miller. There's Kevin Hayes. The center ice, like, it's nothing.
I like JT Miller, and this is not because he's not from Pittsburgh, but he like played here for a while growing up, and
yeah,
I like his game a lot. Like, he's got good speed. He's
some
willing to
grit
play.
too, right?
Yeah, he's willing to play a bit of like he'll block a shot. You know what I mean? He'll put his body on the line. He's not going to shy away from that stuff. And he may not be the flashiest guy, but I like his grit.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys, Gumpy, you got anybody else from Team USA, or it's not the center ice isn't so deep with USA as Canada, but man, there's some decisions to make now without Eichel.
Yeah, and then Canada, I mean, like, does Barzell make that team?
I don't think so.
Right?
No, hold on. I think he maybe makes the team, but I don't think he's top 12. He might be an extra, like 13 or 14. I don't know.
That's the thing with Team Canada. That's always the thing that's most interesting to me is who the top guys are going to be. It was like that when Bergeron was the center that year, when he was like the fourth line center, and he was like one of the last guys to make it, and he was so big for that team. Like, or when they took what's his name because he played on the same line as Crosby with the Penguins.
Kunitz.
Yeah, and he was unreal. He was unreal.
Yeah, awesome. But that's how it is. It's like they go with like tandems a lot of times in these Olympics and or international play. Let's just play through some of them. Obviously, 97, 87 down the middle.
Yep.
Boom, boom. That's your two. Nathan McKinnon will play wing. I don't think he'll play center there. So I'll say, who am I missing here? I know
Marner.
They'll move Bergeron on the wing.
Yeah, Bergeron will go wing. Marner will play wing. Who are they?
Marchand.
He'll be on the wing.
There'll be wing. So centers will be. I like Sean Couturier. I think will be the fourth line center.
He should be.
Braden Point.
Yes, thank you. That's it. Braden Point. Braden Point will be on this team. So that's how I think where it's at, Gumps. Like, I don't know where you are in that. Like, if Matt Barzell, I think a guy like Sean Couturier is going to be fourth line center because he's a specialty guy, right? Like, he's going to be the shutdown guy. And Matt Barzell is not that. Braden Point's not that. So basically, if Matt Barzell is going to crack the top 12 or top 4 centermen, and we're already saying maybe you guys don't agree with it, but maybe I'm already saying I don't think he's going to take out Couturier. He's certainly not going to take out Crosby or McDavid. It's Braden Point. He ain't taking out Braden Point either. So unless Matt Barzell can play wing, which I don't know if he can.
But look at who else you have on the wings, Rupper. You got Tavares, Stamkos, Huberdeau.
Yeah.
Mark Stone.
I'd try him if he can play wing. And also the other thing
he's probably that extra guy.
He's the extra
him
guy.
And Mark Scheifele, maybe.
Scheifele, yeah. I think Scheifele and him could be the extra forwards.
Goalie with Canada is the one. If where do you go without Carey Price if he's not in?
Oh man, where do we go?
Right? That's
a tough one.
Like, I don't know. I have no idea who it is. Bennington?
Yeah. Jordan Binnington would be an option. Ooh, man, that's a really
Carter
good
Hart.
Do they finally give it to Flower, even though he's not had the best start on reputation? Is he in the mix even?
He should be. I mean, as long as
I think he
Flower-
should be in the mix.
He should be in the mix. So Flower, I mean,
Is Carter Hart in the conversation?
he's in the conversation, but I mean, honestly, I don't think they have an option but Marc-Andre Fleury to be a starter right now. And if he can't get his game
Right?
up to speed, I mean, I'm going through and looking at all these. I don't see. There's not a ton
got
of.
nothing.
Know who we're missing? Wait, no, he's a. Spencer Demko. Demko's American, isn't he?
I thought so.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think he's American. Never mind. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think. I'm going blank here. Yeah, there's some tough. They don't have a lock at that position. Hopefully, Carey Price is able to get healthy and get back. But I don't know.
If not him, they're in. Fuck this. Preds are up 2-0. This Stars team fucking stinks. Fuck.
Hey, Rupper, last thing, back to the previous conversation real quick. Would they think about, or would he want to, McDavid at wing for the Olympic team?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Would Connor McDavid, would they try him, or would he want to go to wing for the Olympic team?
I wouldn't move him to wing.
No.
I don't. I mean,
That's the top
He'd
line's
probably
probably McKinnon, McDavid, Marner.
Yeah. I mean,
Right? And then you got Crosby, Marchand, and Bergeron, the old firm.
that's going to be the big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen Connor. I wouldn't want him playing wing. I wouldn't.
We don't have a fucking goalie.
I just thought of the possibility of him and Sid being able to get some ice time together. I thought maybe they might try something just for a shift or two, just to see it, just for like the Lemieux Gretzky thing that they did back in the day.
If there's a guy that's capable, I shouldn't say capable because he would be awesome at wing. Sid has all the attributes to play whatever forward position.
Yeah.
Connor's unbelievable. He's world class. I don't know if he'd thrive at wing. I don't know. I think Sid would, because Sid does everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so maybe that would be an option, but I don't. To what Gumpy said, like, they're not touching that Bergeron, Marchand, Crosby line. That's their best line in international
fucking
play.
old firm, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's guys like, what if Taylor Hall's playing well for the Bruins, Sagan for the Stars? Like, Canada, there's never a shortage of, like, that's what I said. It gets interesting when you get down to the, I don't know, man.
It does, man. It does. Hey, are you probably going to close it? We went long here, but thanks for everybody watching. But I just wanted to say one thing. Do we want to tease next week a little bit? Because we got like a team oriented next week who we're going to get somebody from. Or do you want to wait on that? What are you thinking?
Rupper, you tease. You play this stuff pretty close to your vest. I often don't know who you got lined up until the day of.
Yeah.
So if you want to drop a tease, man, go for it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is something that's still good. I'm excited. We're going to go one of the surprising teams in the league this year. Columbus Blue Jackets are committed with us next week. So
okay.
I got a couple big names in there with the Jackets. We'll have to see which players are playing certain positions, if they can come on the show that night or not. Some of the guys are very colorful with their new pads. That's who I'm hoping for.
Okay.
But they got a bunch of really cool options. It's a good group what they got going there, and they're a fun team to watch right now.
Well, hey, shout out to you. You've been killing it. Weeks was great. Callahan was great tonight. We appreciate that, everything you're doing on that. And we know you're a busy guy with SiriusXM. You're on the NHL network and everything you're doing there and the hustling and bustling. So,
no, man, it's been a blast. It's been a blast, fellas. And we'll keep on trucking here and get back next week.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for following along live with us. Shout out to everyone who follows along on Twitter at That's Hockey Talk and on Instagram as well at That's Hockey Talk. Go check out Ryan Callahan's foundation there. They're doing awesome things, man. If you got a couple extra bucks to spare, throw them his way. That was incredible to hear about, and I love what they're doing down there. And I'd love to help out as well. So we appreciate him coming on. Gumpy, any final thoughts here before we sign off?
Nah, Stars are in a bad spot here, boys. I mean, they were minus 150 money line tonight. They're down 2 dick to the Preds.
All right, how about though? Do we want to Gumps? You want to throw? We still feeling you got Leafs 1. You got 1-0 Leafs. About just under 17 minutes in the third. We sticking? What are you thinking? Anything there?
Leafs are buzzing right now. They look like they're gonna put this thing away. I'm not gonna live bet the Stars to win.
All right,
what about
this
this
late
Wild
game?
Coyotes matchup?
Wait, hold on a second. The Stars have 7 fucking shots and they're halfway through the game.
Jesus Christ. This team's dead.
Yeah, they're buzzing, dude. They might have 15 by the end. Come on.
I'm on Minnesota heavy tonight. I'm on them in regulation. I wanted to go puck line, but I just went in regulation.
Coyotes stink.
The Coyotes only have 1 win on the season, yeah.
I almost want to take a flyer on the Flyers at plus 370.
I don't know, man. In Philly.
Yeah. They're not looking good though.
That's why it's 370.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
All right, boys.
We got a lot of good matchups tomorrow though.
Tomorrow night's the night.
Get something. Let's get something out there tomorrow. We can jump on that on social.
Oh, here we go. Come on, Gup. Throw something out there for tomorrow.
Oh
night.
No. You don't have to put you on the spot now. Bring it out tomorrow.
No, do it now. Put them on the spot.
Or do it now.
Here we go. Holy shit! How good are the Wild right now? They're on top.
They're pretty fucking good.
They're playing good. What's Boston showing in the Edmonton at Boston?
Minus 140.
Is it at home? Is it in Boston?
It's in Boston.
Yeah.
They're playing incredible at home.
We taking the Bruins.
How good is that guy? Right? So good.
We have a line on him too. We got a couple guys. I think Ty and Gump have infiltrated his blocked Instagram. I think we might be able to get him on at some point too.
Oh, please do.
He said whatever you need, he'll bring the jersey down for the boys.
He
hasn't done it in years. We might need him for the intro. Maybe we got a new intro with him.
He's got good rhythm too, the way he's doing it. I get jacked when I watch that. I love it.
He's a maniac. Juice. All right, boys.
Let's go. Fuck it. Bruins money line tomorrow. Fuck it. Let's go.
Eric, you heard it here first. At Bubba Gumpino, Bruins money line Thursday night. Shout out to everyone in chat again. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Go check out the YouTube channel. Be a friend, tell a friend, tell your friends to subscribe. Trying to grow that thing. We'll be posting more clips on there, more of Rupper's incredible stories. Losing my headphones here. That means it's time to go. Thank you so much for rocking with us. And that's Hockey Talk.